The next morning, Velnara showed them more of the ship. The humans could not believe what they saw. Every room was perfect. The ship cleaned itself. The lights knew when people were coming. The temperature was always just right. How does it all work? Taejin asked. He stared at a wall that showed moving pictures of space. The ship thinks, Velnara said. Every part talks to every other part, like a body with many hands but one mind. They walked to the engine room. Taejin's mouth fell open. The engines were huge and beautiful. They glowed with soft energy. No noise came from them. These don't burn fuel, he said. How do they work? They use the planet's magnetic field, Velnara explained. The ship drinks energy from the world itself. That is why we can wait so long. Bora was studying her scanner. The power readings are incredible. This one ship has more energy than our whole colony. Etherians learned long ago that taking from worlds is wrong. Velnara said, We only borrow. We always give back. So Young found the ship's weapons, but they were not like human weapons. These look more like tools, she said. Etherians do not fight wars, Velnara said. Those are for moving asteroids and clearing space debris. My people are peaceful. We're peaceful, Bora said quietly. Where are they now? Far away. Still traveling. Still learning. The collective has many ships on many worlds. Hyunwoo asked the question that worried him most. Why haven't they come looking for this ship? Velnara was quiet for a moment. Etherian ships are independent. We report when we finish our missions. Until then, we are trusted to do our work. Even for 800 years? So Young asked. Time moves differently for us. A mission might take thousands of years. The collective is patient. They went to the ship's laboratory. It was full of amazing equipment. Machines that could look inside atoms. Computers that could predict weather on distant planets. And most amazing of all, a machine that could make anything. This makes new things? Taejin asked. He looked at the large metal box. Give it base elements and it creates whatever you need. Velnara said. Food, tools, even complex machines. Taejin put a broken tool into the machine. He touched some symbols. The machine hummed softly. When it opened, his tool was perfect again. This could change everything for humans, he whispered. Bora found the ship's memory banks. Velnara, can you show us information about other worlds? The walls came alive with pictures. They saw beautiful planets with purple seas. They saw cities that floated in the air. They saw creatures that looked like living rainbows. The collective has visited thousands of worlds, Velnara said. We learn from each one. We share what we learn. Do you ever invite species to join you? Hyunwoo asked, sometimes. When a species shows wisdom, when they choose to help others instead of just helping themselves. The humans looked at each other. They all thought the same thing. Would humans ever be wise enough? What happened to species that were not wise? So Young asked. We leave them alone. Everyone must choose their own path. But wise species are invited to learn with us. They spent hours exploring. The ship had a garden that grew food from many worlds. It had a library with stories told in light and sound. It had workshops where art was made from pure energy. Your captain lived a good life, Bora said. Captain K. Valdris was special, young for an Etherian but very curious. The captain loved discovering new things. How old was the captain? Hyunwoo asked. Only 800 years old. Very young for us. The humans were shocked. 800 years was young? How long do Etherians live? Taejin asked. Many thousands of years. We have time to learn patience and wisdom. They found the captain's private workshop. It was full of seeds in special containers. Each container had a label with strange writing. Seeds from 1,000 worlds, Velnara said. The captain's hobby was preserving life. Wherever we went, the captain collected seeds to plant on other worlds. Bora touched one container gently. The captain was spreading life across the galaxy. Yes, Etherians believe life is the most precious thing in the universe. In another room, they found something that made them all stop and stare. It was art, but not like human art. The shapes seemed to move and change. Looking at them made the humans feel different emotions. Emotion made solid, Velnara explained. Etherian artists can capture feelings and make them into physical form. So Young stood in front of one piece. It made her feel peaceful and happy. This is incredible. The captain made that one. It holds the feeling of watching a sunrise on a new world. Hyunwoo felt overwhelmed. This ship contained wonders beyond human imagination, and it had been sitting here for 800 years waiting. Velnara, he said, We need to find out what happened to your captain. Can you show us the last place the captain went? Yes, I have detailed maps. The captain went to the northern mountains, to a place with unusual energy readings. We'll go there tomorrow, Hyunwoo decided. We'll find answers. Thank you, Velnara said. The voice sounded grateful. I have hoped for so long to know what happened. That night the humans slept in guest rooms on the ship. The beds were more comfortable than anything they had ever felt. The ship sang soft music to help them sleep, but Hyunwoo lay awake thinking, what would they find in the mountains? And what would happen to Velnara when they learned the truth? He had a feeling that finding the captain would change everything, not just for the ship but for all of humanity. Outside, the ship's sensors watched the stars. Somewhere out there, the Etherian collective continued their endless journey. They had no idea that on one small planet, their lost captain's story was about to be discovered. And they had no idea that the species that found it might be exactly what they had been looking for. The next 2 weeks were the hardest of their lives. Every day they traveled between the ship and the mountain station. Velnara's manufacturing systems worked constantly, building new components that mixed human and Etherian technology. Taijin barely slept. He checked every circuit, every connection, every line of code. One mistake could destroy everything. The sensors are ready, Bora announced. She had spent days learning to program Etherian computers. They can read quantum fluctuations better than the original system. The automation is finished too, Taijin said. He looked exhausted but excited. The computer can make adjustments faster than any living being. So Young had been planning the installation. We'll need to work in shifts. Someone has to monitor the old system while we install the new one. I'll take the first shift, Hyunwoo said. I'll sit with the captain while you install the sensors. They carried their equipment down into the mountain. In the core chamber, Captain K. Valdris still sat peacefully at the controls. The stabilizer hummed with steady energy. I've run 1,000 simulations, Taijin said as they began work. The new system should work perfectly. Should, So Young muttered as she connected cables. It took 6 hours to install the new sensors. Another 4 hours to connect the automation systems. During all this time, Hyunwoo sat beside the captain watching the displays, making tiny adjustments when needed. How do you do this for 800 years? He asked the silent figure. How do you stay focused for so long? Bora finished connecting the final sensor. Ready for the first test. They activated the new system slowly. The automated sensors came online. The computers began reading the planet's quantum patterns. It's working, Taijin said. His voice was filled with relief. The new sensors are tracking the fluctuations perfectly. Now for the real test, So Young said. Can the automation make the right adjustments? They watched as the computer detected a small fluctuation. Immediately, the automated system made a tiny adjustment to the stabilizer. The fluctuation disappeared. Again, Bora said as another reading appeared. Again, the computer responded perfectly. For 3 days they ran tests. The automated system handled every situation correctly. It was faster than the original system and more precise. I think it's ready, Taijin said finally. You think? So Young asked. The simulations all work. The tests all pass. We can't be more sure without actually switching over. Hyunwoo made the hardest decision of his life. We do it. We switched to the automated system. Very carefully, they transferred control from the old system to the new one. For a terrifying moment, the stabilizer stopped humming. The displays went dark. Then the new system came online. The humming returned steadier than before. The displays showed perfect stability. It works, Bora whispered. It actually works. They monitored the system for another day. Everything was perfect. The planet was stable. The automation was functioning correctly. We can move the captain now, Hyunwoo said quietly. Very gently, they lifted Captain K. Valdris from the chair. The captain's body was light, preserved by the energy field. They carried it to a peaceful chamber they had prepared. Thank you, Hyunwoo said to the silent figure. Your sacrifice saved this world, and it taught us what it means to be truly wise. Back on the ship, Velnara was waiting for them. The automation is working perfectly, Bora reported. The planet is safe. And Captain K. Valdris? Velnara asked. At rest, Hyunwoo said. The captain's work is done. Velnara was quiet for a long moment. My captain would be proud. You have found a solution that saves both the planet and yourselves. What happens now? So Young asked. Now I complete my captain's mission, Velnara said. I report to the collective. The ship's communication systems activated. Signals shot out into space carrying news of what had happened on this small planet. How long before they respond? Taejin asked. The nearest collective ships are 50 light years away. Perhaps 10 years. And what will you tell them about us? Bora asked. That I have found a species worthy of joining the collective. A species that chooses wisdom over selfishness. A species that finds better solutions instead of accepting tragic ones. Over the following days, Velnara shared more Etherian technology with them. Not weapons or tools of conquest, but instruments of exploration and creation. The collective will want to meet your leaders, Velnara said. They will want to share knowledge and learn from your unique perspectives. Our unique perspectives? Hyunwoo asked. Humans think differently than Etherians. You find solutions we might not consider. The captain's sacrifice was noble, but your automation was better. Better how? The captain chose to die for this world. You chose to live for it. You found a way to preserve life without destroying life. They learned that this was what made humans special in the galaxy, while other species found wisdom through long life and patient thought. Humans found it through creativity and refusal to accept impossible choices. The collective has been looking for species like yours, Velnara said, species that can think in new ways. Before they left the planet, they returned one more time to Captain K. Valdris. The captain now rested in a beautiful chamber filled with growing plants from many worlds. The seeds the captain had collected were finally planted. The captain's garden, Bora said. Life from 1,000 worlds. Growing forever on the world the captain saved, Taejin added. They took the ship and departed for human space. Behind them, the planet thrived under its new automated protection. The quantum stabilizers worked perfectly, maintaining the world's stability without requiring any sacrifice. As they traveled, Velnara taught them about the galaxy, about the hundreds of species in the collective, about worlds where art was made from starlight and cities floated in gas clouds. Will humans be accepted? So Young asked. You already have been, Velnara said. Your actions on the planet were your application. Your solution was your acceptance, and what do we do now? You go home. You tell your people what you have found. You prepare them for contact with the collective. And you? I will wait with your people. I will help them understand what is coming. And when the collective arrives, I will introduce them to their newest members. Months later, when they reached human space, their ship caused a sensation. The technology alone was revolutionary. But the message they carried was even more important. Humanity was no longer alone. They had been invited to join a galactic community of wise species. They had proven themselves not through conquest or dominance, but through compassion and creativity. In the years that followed, as humanity prepared for contact with the collective, they often remembered Captain K. Valdris, the alien who had chosen to die alone rather than let a world perish. But they also remembered that sometimes the greatest wisdom was not in accepting sacrifice, but in refusing it. Sometimes the best solution was the one that saved everyone. And in a small chamber on a distant planet, in a garden growing with life from 1,000 worlds, the quantum stabilizers hummed their steady song. A song of life preserved and sacrifice honored. A song that would continue for millions of years, thanks to the day humans learned that the most important choice was not between living and dying, but between giving up and finding a better way. The team returned to the ship in silence. Each of them was thinking about what they had seen. Captain K. Valdris sitting alone for 800 years, keeping an entire planet alive. When they entered the ship, Velnara's voice greeted them immediately. Welcome back. Did you find traces of my captain? Hyunwoo looked at his team. They all nodded. It was time to tell the truth. Velnara, we found your captain, he said. Wonderful. The voice sounded so happy. Where is the captain? When will we depart? Velnara, Bora said gently. Captain K. Valdris is dead. The ship was silent for a long moment. When Velnara spoke again, the voice sounded smaller. Dead? How? The captain chose to save this planet, Hyunwoo explained. The planet's core was unstable. All life here would have died. The captain built a machine to fix it. And the machine required someone to stay and maintain it, Taejin added. The captain chose to stay. For 800 years, So Young said. The captain never left the controls. Velnara was quiet for several minutes. The lights in the ship dimmed. When the voice returned, it sounded different. Sadder. My captain saved an entire world, Velnara said. This is what Etherians do. We preserve life. But now we have a problem, Bora said. The machine is old. Some parts are failing. If it stops working, the planet dies. Someone needs to maintain it, Taejin said. Someone needs to take the captain's place. Velnara was silent again. Then the voice asked, "What are you suggesting?" Hyunwoo had been thinking about this during the walk back. One of us could stay. Take over the captain's work. No, So Young said immediately. Absolutely not. We just found the most advanced alien technology in human history. We can't throw our lives away. But if we don't, Taejin said, billions of creatures die, an entire ecosystem dies. That's not our responsibility, So Young argued. We're explorers, not martyrs. Bora was studying her scanner data. Wait, there might be another way. Human technology is different from Etherian technology. Maybe we can find a solution they couldn't. What do you mean? Hyunwoo asked. Etherians think in terms of biological solutions, living beings maintaining living systems. But humans are good at automation, at making machines that run themselves. Taejin's eyes lit up. You're thinking we could automate the stabilizer? Maybe. If we can understand how it works, we might be able to modify it. Velnara's voice joined the conversation. My programming requires me to protect my captain's work. If the stabilizer fails, I must find a way to maintain it. Even if it means staying here forever? Hyunwoo asked. Even then, the captain's sacrifice must not be wasted. So Young sat down heavily. This is insane. We came here looking for salvage. Now we're talking about sacrificing ourselves for a planet we don't even live on. What makes us human? Bora asked quietly. What separates us from animals? Technology, Taejin said. Language, So Young said. No, Bora said. Choice. The ability to choose what's right over what's easy. Hyunwoo stood up. Velnara, can you show us detailed scans of the stabilizer? Everything your sensors recorded? Of course. The ship's walls filled with technical displays. Complex diagrams showed how the machine worked. Energy flow charts showed how it connected to the planet's core. Taejin studied the information for hours. Bora helped him translate the Etherian symbols. Slowly they began to understand. It's brilliant, Taejin said finally, but it's also very simple. The machine reads quantum fluctuations and adjusts the core's magnetic field to compensate. Could we build automatic sensors? Bora asked. Maybe, but the adjustments need to be precise. Any mistake could destroy the planet faster than natural decay. What if we combined human and Etherian technology? Hyunwoo suggested. Use their sensors with our automation? Velnara's voice sounded interested. That is possible. My manufacturing systems could build hybrid components. They worked through the night. Taejin designed automated control systems. Bora figured out how to connect human computers to Etherian sensors. So Young planned the installation process. It might work, Taejin said as the sun rose. But someone still needs to test it. Someone needs to make sure it works before we remove the captain from the controls. I'll do it, Hyunwoo said. Captain? No, So Young said. If something goes wrong, then you take the ship back to human space. You tell them what we found here. You make sure this story gets told. There's something else, Velnara said. Something I have not told you. What? Bora asked. Captain K. Valdris was not just exploring this planet. The captain was evaluating this sector for the collective, looking for species that might be ready to join us. The humans stared at each other. The captain's mission was to study the primitive species here, Velnara continued, to see if they showed potential for wisdom and growth. You mean humans, Hyunwoo said. Yes. The captain had been observing your colonies. The captain was impressed by your curiosity and your willingness to help others. And now? So Young asked. Now I must complete the captain's mission. I must report to the collective about what I have observed. What will you report? Bora asked. That depends on what you choose to do. The collective judges species by their actions when faced with difficult choices. Hyunwoo understood. This was a test, not just for him but for all of humanity. If we save the planet, humanity passes the test? He asked. If you find a way to save the planet while also preserving your own lives, you will have shown the wisdom the collective looks for. The pressure was enormous. The future of human contact with an advanced alien civilization depended on what they did next. We have our answer then, Hyunwoo said. We build the automated system. We save the planet and save ourselves. And if it doesn't work, So Young asked, then we'll face that choice when we come to it. But as they prepared to return to the mountain, each of them knew that failure might mean choosing between their own lives and the life of an entire world. The real test was just beginning. The next morning, Velnara gave them special equipment. The backpacks were light but carried everything they needed. The boots helped them walk on any surface. The jackets kept them cool or warm as needed. This equipment will help you follow the captain's path, Velnara said. I have loaded maps into your devices. They will show you exactly where the captain went. The team left the ship and walked toward the mountains. The jungle was thick, but Velnara's equipment made walking easier. Their boots gripped every surface. Their jackets kept bugs away. Look at this, Bora said. She held up her scanner. I'm getting traces of Etherian technology. Very faint, but still there. After 800 years, So Young asked. Etherian tools are made to last forever, Taejin said. He had learned a lot about their technology. They don't break down like our equipment. They followed the traces through the jungle. The path led them up into rocky hills. The trees became smaller. The air became cooler. The traces are getting stronger, Bora said. We're getting close to something. After 4 hours of climbing, they found a narrow valley between two tall cliffs. At the end of the valley, they saw something that made them stop and stare. Built into the cliff face was a structure. It looked like it had grown from the rock itself. The walls were smooth and curved like the ship. Soft lights glowed around what looked like an entrance. That's Etherian construction, Taejin said. The captain built this. They walked to the entrance carefully. So Young went first, checking for danger, but everything seemed safe and quiet. The entrance opened as they approached. Inside, they found a research station. The rooms were filled with strange machines and computers. Everything was still working. Look at these readings, Bora said. She was studying a large screen covered in symbols. These are measurements of the planet's core. Can you understand them? Yunwoo asked. Some of them. This screen shows the planet's magnetic field. This one shows underground energy patterns. She touched different displays. Wait, this doesn't look good. What do you mean? So Young asked. The planet's core is unstable. These readings show it getting worse over time. Bora's face was worried. If this is right, the planet should be dead by now. They moved deeper into the station. In the main room, they found more computers and a chair that looked like it was made for someone very tall. The captain's workstation, Taejin said. Hyun-woo found a device that looked like it might hold recordings. He touched it, and suddenly the air above it filled with light. A figure appeared, tall, graceful, with skin that seemed to glow softly. This is Captain K. Valdris, the figure said. If you are seeing this, something has happened to me. The humans stared at their first sight of an Etherian. The captain was beautiful in a way that seemed almost magical. I came to this planet to study quantum fluctuations. The recording continued. What I found was much worse. This planet is dying. Its core is becoming unstable. In perhaps 200 years, all life here will end. Bora checked her scanner against the captain's data. The timeline matches. But that was 800 years ago. Why is the planet still alive? The recording continued. I have discovered a way to save this world. Deep in the core, I can install quantum stabilizers. They will keep the planet's core stable for millions of years. Incredible, Taejin whispered. But there is a cost, Captain K. Valdris said. The stabilizers need constant monitoring. Someone must stay behind to maintain them. Someone must watch over them forever. The humans began to understand I could call for help. The collective would send ships to evacuate the primitive life forms we have found here. But evacuation means this beautiful world dies. All the unique species here would be lost forever. The captain's image looked directly at them. I have made my choice. I will install the stabilizers myself. I will stay to maintain them. This world will live. The recording ended. The room was silent. The captain chose to die alone to save a planet, So Young said quietly. Not just die, Bora said. Stay forever. Maintain the equipment forever. They searched the station and found the captain's personal logs. The entries told the whole story. How the captain had worked for months to build the stabilizers. How difficult it was to install them deep in the planet's core. How lonely it was to work alone. The last entry was very short. The work is done. The planet will live. I go now to my final post. May the collective understand and forgive my choice. Where is this final post? Hyunwoo asked. Bora found a map on one of the computers. Deeper in the mountain. There's a shaft that goes down to the planet's core. They followed the map through tunnels carved into the rock. The tunnels went down and down. The air grew warm. Strange energy made their skin tingle. At the bottom, they found a chamber that took their breath away. The walls glowed with soft energy. In the center stood a complex machine that hummed with power. And next to the machine, in a chair that faced the controls, sat Captain K. Valdris. The captain's body was perfectly preserved in a field of energy. The captain's hands still rested on the control panel. The captain's eyes were closed peacefully. 800 years, Taejin said. Sitting here for 800 years, keeping this world alive. Bora scanned the machine. It's incredible. This device is connected to the planet's core. It's stabilizing the quantum fluctuations that would have destroyed everything. And it needs constant adjustment, So Young said. She could see displays that showed tiny changes in the planet's energy. The captain never left the controls, Hyunwoo said. Stayed here until death, keeping the planet stable. They stood in silence, honoring the alien who had given everything to save a world. We need to tell Velnara, Bora said finally. How do we tell a computer that has waited 800 years that the captain is never coming back? So Young asked. More than that, Taejin said. He was studying the stabilizer controls. What happens to the planet if we take the captain away? If we disturb this machine? Bora checked her scanner again. The machine is still working, but it's old. Some parts are starting to wear out. If it fails, Hyunwoo asked, the planet dies. Everything on it dies. They had found their answer. But now they faced an impossible choice. They could honor the captain by reporting the discovery to Velnara. But that might mean disturbing the machine that kept an entire world alive. As they stood in the chamber, watching the captain's still form, they realized this was bigger than just finding a missing alien. This was about the choice between honoring the dead and protecting the living. And somehow they knew that whatever they decided would change the course of human history. The jungle was thick and hot. Captain Hyunwoo wiped sweat from his face as he pushed through the green plants. His team followed behind him. Bora carried her scanning tools. Taejin had his repair kit. So Young kept her weapon ready. They had been walking for 3 hours. The trees were tall and blocked most of the sunlight. Strange birds made loud noises above them. The air smelled of flowers and old leaves. Captain, I'm getting metal readings ahead, Bora said. She looked at her scanner. The small screen showed bright dots. Something big is buried under all these plants. Hyunwoo stopped and looked around. He saw nothing but trees and vines. How big? He asked. Very big. Maybe 3 times bigger than our ship. Bora's eyes were wide. The metal is old but still strong. So Young moved to the front. She was the team's guard. Her job was to keep them safe. Could be dangerous, she said. Old ships sometimes have traps. Or treasure, Taejin said with a smile. He loved finding new things to fix. Old alien tech could help us a lot. They walked toward the metal signals. Soon they found what looked like a huge rock. It was covered in thick green moss and long vines. The rock was as big as a building. This doesn't look natural, Hyunwoo said. He touched the moss. It felt soft and wet. Bora, scan it again. Bora pointed her tools at the rock. Her scanner made beeping sounds. Definitely metal underneath. The shape looks like a ship. A really old ship. So Young pulled out her knife. She started cutting away the vines. Under the green plants, she found smooth metal. The metal was dark blue and had strange patterns on it. Help me clear this, she said. The team worked together. They pulled away moss and cut vines. Soon they could see part of a wall. The metal had symbols that glowed with soft light. These symbols, Bora said. She took pictures with her scanner. I've never seen anything like them. They're not in any human database. Taejin found what looked like a door. It was round and had more glowing symbols. This might be an entrance, he said. He touched the symbols. They felt warm. Is it safe? Hyunwoo asked. Bora checked her scanner again. The air inside is clean. The ship still has power. Life support is working. After all this time? So Young was surprised. How long has this been here? My scanner says about 800 years, Bora said. But the systems are still running. Hyunwoo made a choice. We go in, but we stay together. If anything seems wrong, we leave fast. Taejin worked on the door. He connected his tools to the symbols. The door made a soft sound and began to open. Cool air came out. It smelled clean and fresh. The air is good, Bora said. She checked her scanner. Safe to breathe. They walked through the door. Inside, the ship was amazing. The walls were smooth and curved. Soft blue lights made everything easy to see. The floor felt warm under their feet. "This is incredible," Tae-jin said. He looked at everything with wonder. "The technology is so advanced. Look at these walls. They seem alive." The hallway was wide and tall. It was built for people bigger than humans. Everything was clean. Nothing looked broken or old. "Where is everyone?" So Young asked. She kept her weapon ready. A ship this big should have a crew. They walked deeper into the ship. They found rooms with strange furniture. They saw screens with symbols that moved like living things. Everything worked perfectly. "Hello," a voice said. It came from everywhere at once. The voice was musical and gentle. "Welcome to the vessel Harmony of Stars." The team stopped walking. They looked around but saw no one. "Who are you?" Hyunwoo asked. "I am Velnara, keeper of this ship," the voice said. "I have been waiting for someone to come. It has been a very long time." "You're the ship's computer?" Bora asked. "I am the ship's mind and guardian," Velnara said. "I maintain all systems. I wait for my captain to return." "Where is your captain?" Hyunwoo asked. "Captain K. Valdris left to study the planet. That was 847 years ago. The captain has not returned. But I wait. It is my duty to wait." Tae-jin was amazed. "You've been waiting for 800 years? Time means little to me," Velnara said. "My captain will return. Until then, I keep the ship ready." So Young lowered her weapon. The voice sounded sad and lonely. "What kind of people were your crew?" "Etherians," Velnara said. "Tall and wise. They traveled the stars to learn about other worlds. They wanted to find friends among the stars." "Are there others like you out there?" Bora asked. "Many ships, many worlds. The Etherian collective is vast, but this ship waits alone." Hyunwoo felt sorry for the computer. "Can you show us around?" "Of course." "You are welcome here. Perhaps you have news of my captain." Lights began to glow in the walls. They made a path for the humans to follow. The team walked through the ship. They saw rooms for sleeping, rooms for eating, and rooms for working. "The captain's quarters are this way," Velnara said. They entered a large room. It was beautiful. The walls showed pictures of stars and planets. A desk held books made of light. Strange plants grew in pots near the windows. "Your captain loved beauty," Bora said. Captain K. Valdris was an artist and explorer. The captain collected beautiful things from many worlds. On the desk they found a journal. The writing glowed with soft colors. Bora tried to read it with her scanner. "The last entry is old," she said. "It talks about finding something important on this planet. Something that needed immediate study." "Yes," Velnara said. The captain found quantum readings in the mountains. Very unusual readings. The captain went to investigate and never returned. Hyunwoo looked at his team. They all understood. The captain was probably dead. But this computer had been waiting for 800 years. "Velnara," he said gently, "we can help you look for your captain. You would do this?" The voice sounded hopeful. "Yes, we'll find out what happened." "Thank you. I will prepare maps and equipment. Perhaps finally I will have answers." As they left the captain's room, Hyunwoo wondered what they would find, and what would happen to this lonely ship when they learned the truth.